An Austin dog back in the arms of their owner after days of agonizing uncertainty. The happy reunion of a man and his dog in the wake of a violent East Austin robbery.
We have been on the warm side of a front just about all week, but that changes this weekend. We'll show you the huge temperature drop for Sunday in First Warning Weather.
President Donald Trump's work to rapidly shrink the federal government met with widespread confusion and some pushback. The accusations levied at the Trump administration as it faces a new lawsuit. We start this afternoon, though, with breaking news. San Marcos police say they're working the scene of a homicide on River Road. This is near the San Marcos Regional Animal Shelter. Investigators say they don't have a suspect in custody, but they do believe the suspect knew the victim. Police say school bus routes in this area will see significant delays, and San Marcos CISD is asking parents to pick up their kids or try to arrange some other transportation if possible.
As President Donald Trump rapidly moves to reduce the federal workforce, he's getting some pushback. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jennifer Sanders.
I'm Avery Travis, in for Daniel Marine tonight. The new administration is facing a lawsuit on the bid to shutter a federal agency and lost around with FBI agents who worked on the January 6th Capitol riot. NBC's Ken Delanian reports.
President Trump greeting the Prime Minister of Japan, his second foreign leader visit in 1 week. This as his shock and awe campaign to shrink the federal government comes under a barrage of legal fire.
Elon is doing a great job. He's finding tremendous fraud and corruption and waste.
Today, a federal employees union is asking a judge for a temporary restraining order to stop the Trump administration's efforts to shut down the U.S. Agency for International Development. The union claims the Trump move violates the Constitution and would have devastating financial and national security consequences. The union is looking for an immediate decision. Otherwise, tonight, nearly all employees at USAID will go on administrative leave, with only 600 plus remaining. Secretary of State Rubio, now overseeing the foreign aid agency, says the administration is trying to put an end to wasteful spending.
We're not trying to be disruptive to people's personal lives. We're not being punitive here, but this is the only way we've been able to get cooperation.
We spend less than half of 1% on foreign aid.
FBI agents who investigated the January 6th riot won a legal round. The government agreed not to publicly name the men and women involved in thousands of cases. The Justice Department had said it had no plans to release the names to the public. The acting FBI director says agents who investigated January 6th won't be fired for following orders. But at a news conference this afternoon, President Trump said some of those investigators must go.
But I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. I have no doubt about that.
President Trump facing pushback as the reality of his second term sets in. The Office of Personnel Management is asking agency heads for information about low-performing employees, and the office says it's creating new performance metrics to evaluate federal employees in ways that align with President Trump's priorities. In Washington, Ken Delanian, NBC News.
First Warning Weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon.
Well, we've been doing this all week. Morning clouds, afternoon sun, and we did it again today. And you can see all that blue sky from our KXAN West Shore home camera on West Campus looking toward downtown. These clouds a little more stubborn today than yesterday, but we still made it into the 80s, and we're close to that in Austin right now at 79. So it's upper 70s and low 80s in our eastern counties. Temperatures deeper into the 80s in the hill country where the sun came out much earlier. And you can see these temperature changes over the last 24 hours. Pretty similar, if not slightly cooler than we were this time yesterday because the clouds hung on just a little bit longer. Those clouds are all gone now, but you'll notice as we take you through the night tonight, we're going to do it one more time. The clear skies will eventually be replaced by more clouds. Still going to make for a very warm Friday evening in the 70s through 9, and then we dip into the upper 60s to begin your day tomorrow, but we'll be starting your Saturday and your weekend with more clouds again. Coming up in First Warning Weather, we'll show you near record heat for Saturday ahead of a much colder Sunday with wetter and cooler weather on track for next week.
Nick, thank you so much. In recent years, the city of Austin has been investing a lot in helping the homeless, and a big portion of that is going towards what's called permanent supportive housing.
And we're getting a better idea of how much the city is spending, but as KXAN's Grace Reeder explains, not funding that housing may actually cost more.
Hotels now housing people exiting homelessness.
There you go.
Apartment complexes with services like mental health support and case management. Groups addressing homelessness in our city say permanent supportive housing is key to addressing the issue in our city, and we're getting a much better idea of how much it costs.
The need and the scale that we have here in Austin, it cannot be, the city just can't fund it alone.
Housing staff told some council members this week that there are currently 480 of those units already in operation in Austin. There are 900 more in the pipeline to open over the next few years. That leaves Austin with more than 1,300 units in operation or soon to be. The price tag for that?
I just tallied all of those up, and that is the result of $137.2 million of investment by the city of Austin into this permanent supportive housing. On average, it's about $140,000 per PSH unit. And that represents over 1,100 units of PSH.
That funding primarily comes from general obligation bonds, but it doesn't include services or operational costs.
We need the folks to continue to focus on services. And if you build it, I would say if you build it, they will come. But if you don't provide the support, they won't stay. So just more support, the better.
Even though that price tag is high, groups that provide permanent supportive housing resources say the city may actually spend more on people experiencing homelessness should they not fund the housing and services.
The return on investment of keeping the individuals out of emergency rooms, out of hospitals, out of psychiatric care is phenomenal. So we here at Integral Care, we do a lot of return on investment analysis. And we see a cost savings of often over $1 million for these PSH projects.
Grace Reader, KXAN News.
Grace, thank you so much. A report from the Ending Community Homelessness Coalition, or ECHO, models the need in Austin, Travis County. It shows the city would need more than 4,000 additional permanent supportive housing units to meet what's called functional zero. That's a milestone for when a community has nearly solved homelessness. According to this report, that could cost nearly $217.5 million. Going further in depth, Travis County Judge Andy Brown recently shared another report published by ECHO. Over the span of roughly 5 years in Austin, Travis County, according to Brown, more than 360 people experiencing homelessness died in a hospital. That report showed the cost for those people's medical care in the year before their death was collectively more than $11 million. And Brown said the money used for that care could have funded more than 80% of the rent or permanent supportive housing needed for those people.
Well, now to an update on a story we brought you earlier this week. Freya the French Bulldog has been reunited with her family. Sean Clements told our Jayla Washington that on Monday, a man pulled up to him while he was walking his dog at an apartment complex in Northeast Austin. Now, Clements said the man shot him, grabbed his dogs, a Jack Russell named Loki and a French Bulldog named Freya, and then drove away. Loki was injured in the incident and Freya was kidnapped.
Breaking my heart, I just emotional, sad, hurt, angry. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I don't really know how to feel right now. I just want my dog back.
Well, Elgin Police and the Bastrop County Sheriff's Office arrested Roderick Harvey in connection with the dog theft and shooting. A detective with APD's robbery unit says French Bulldog robberies are not uncommon in the Austin area.
Since 2021, there's been about 7 different French Bulldog robberies. When you compare them to about 1,400 robbery cases in Austin, very minor. But I think it is a shock to the conscience, right? Our dogs are our family members. So it does weigh heavily on people.
Roderick Harvey is currently in custody at the Bastrop County Jail and faces 1 count of aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon.
As the clock ticks down to kickoff between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend, player safety remains at the top of players and coaches' minds. The innovations helping usher in a safer future of football.
And mounting fears and growing concern around the threat of tariffs pushing U.S. importers to stock up on a drink of choice for many. The wine growing more precious as its sales soar.
And from hurricanes to flash flooding to fires and severe drought, a year of severe weather conditions mean a cup of coffee could put a strain on your wallet.
Over the past year, global coffee prices reached their highest level in almost 5 years. Now, this comes as key coffee producing areas of the world face severe weather conditions. So bad weather in Brazil and Vietnam have caused a significant drop in supply from two of the world's top coffee producers. Meanwhile, global coffee prices have surged to levels not seen since the 1970s. As a result of the shortage, some roasters are now looking to source beans from Australia, but Australian coffee growers say they can't take advantage of the market gap unless they increase the number of trees being planted, and that's exactly what some of them are now doing.
On this farm, we've got about 45,000 established trees, and we're currently planting out 2,000 of the 2 new varieties.
And right now, Australian produced coffee only accounts for less than half of 1% or all the coffee consumed in the country.
As fears mount over the possible impact of tariffs threatened by President Donald Trump, American importers are stockpiling Italian Prosecco. According to the Union of Italian Wines Trade Association, U.S. imports of Italian sparkling wines skyrocketed by 41% in November after Trump's election. It's worth noting the Italian wines were not hit by tariffs during the first Trump presidency, and no tariffs have been announced to date against European partners. Still, Prosecco importers and distributors are taking precautionary measures to protect the market. Italy exports nearly 1/4 of its wine to the United States.
An allergy check for you, as mold and elm are low, but they're both on the rise here today, especially mold going up rather quickly. Our temperatures remained warm, 81 today after yesterday's 82, so just slightly cooler and about 5 degrees below the record high. We are going to come very close to tomorrow's record before a significant change to your Sunday forecast. We'll show you the cool down with wet weather next week in First Warning Weather.
And welcome back. Super Bowl weekend is now upon us with just 2 days to go until the big game down in New Orleans.
It came faster than I even thought it would. Chris Hagan is joining us now from the Big Easy to explain how player safety is remaining at the forefront even with a championship on the line. Chris?
Hey, Jennifer and Avery, you're right. Super excited for the Eagles and the Chiefs, but there will be life after the Super Bowl and life after football for these players. You have to think about that now in the midst of your career, and the NFL has done a great job in recent years addressing the concussion problem they had in the league. But even still, you see these injuries each and every week in the NFL. In fact, a couple of big-name quarterbacks were sent to the sidelines with head injuries just this season. That includes Jalen Hurts. The Eagles QB suffered a concussion in Week 16 against Washington, actually missed the final 2 games of the regular season before making it back for the playoffs. Now, the protocol has been in place for a while now. Independent spotters in the booth, independent physicians on the field, they get together, identify problems in real time. And the good news is the players are now fully on board with the process.
A few years ago, players would react to that and say, I'm fine. But now I think the culture's changed to the point where the player, and especially the player's teammates, are like, no. It's going to take, you're going to be out for 2 plays. Go to the tent, let the doctor see you, and make sure that you're okay. And we end up with, here's a little stat for you, we end up evaluating between 3 and 4 players for everyone who's diagnosed with a concussion. So it's really a culture of safety, and I think the players, to the point ultimately, have bought in so substantially that it makes a lot of this much more fluid than it used to be.
Helmet innovations and the new kickoff rules have been helpful as well. In fact, the NFL tells me that since they've been tracking this data on the concussions, this is the fewest they've had in a single season. Let's hope that trend continues Sunday. No injuries, just good football. One team goes home happy, the other team goes home as a loser, and I think that will be the Chiefs. You heard it here first. Hey, I'm Chris Hagan reporting live. Let's throw it back to you.
All right, Chris, a bold prediction. Well, just a reminder now, if you head out on the roads on Sunday night, the Texas Department of Public Safety is increasing patrols on Sunday as part of a national initiative. So DPS says troopers will be out looking for anyone speeding, not wearing seatbelts, or driving under the influence. All right, now we are joined by Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon. A beautiful day outside, and it's a good end to the work week.
Although you wouldn't know that it was February.
I know.
I stepped outside earlier and I was saying, are we in May?
All week it's been like that. 80s about 4 of the last 5 days, and we think we've got one more day like that in us here tomorrow before big changes for Sunday. Let's take you outside to the Circuit of the Americas right now in Southeast Austin, where the sky there looks like it looks outside your window, which is blue skies and sunshine, although you probably don't have a racetrack outside your window. The clouds of the morning just disappeared as we got into the afternoon, a little later than yesterday, but we're all sunny now. However, the low clouds are going to come back as we head into the night tonight. You can see what our computer models do as we get into your Saturday morning at 7. Clouds fairly widespread, but here's the thing. The air should be a little bit drier tomorrow. The cloud deck not quite as thick, which is going to allow tomorrow's clouds to lift away more quickly. So I think most of us will already be sunny by midday tomorrow and then very sunny tomorrow afternoon. So the extra sun tomorrow combined with a cold front just to the north of us will help to boost temperatures to the hottest that they've been all week. In fact, we'll be very close to record highs. Then a cold front drops in Sunday morning. This is going to be providing headaches to our entire weather team and meteorologists across the area because of the difficulty in tracking the arrival of the front, how deep that front's going to be, how quickly it moves through the area, which is going to cause some difficult and challenging temperature forecasts here for Sunday. We are expecting a mostly cloudy day Sunday, a few sprinkles around. Right now, a front well to the north of us is a northerly moving warm front now, separating 44 in Oklahoma City to near 70 in Dallas, and of course plenty of 80s and even 90s across the state. But our cold front coming in Sunday morning is going to drop temperatures down significantly. So tonight, increasing clouds, a mild night, overnight lows of 67. Then our day tomorrow will go with a high of 86. The early morning clouds giving way to plenty of sun. The record is 87. We may just fall shy of that, but you can see all the warmth around here tomorrow. Middle to upper 80s just everywhere. There may even be a few spots in the hill country knocking on the door of 90. But we have lowered Sunday's high temperatures significantly based on some of the newest information we've been looking at. That earlier arrival of the front means that highs in the morning may only be in the 60s. Parts of the area southeast of Austin, morning high temperatures in the 70s. But remember, these will be the morning high temperatures. We may be much cooler than that for the afternoon. Then we get into next week and we start talking about rain chances late Monday and especially Tuesday into Wednesday, with very minimal chances for rain next Thursday and Friday. Still, like we've been saying for the last couple of days, looks like just a quarter inch to an inch of rain coming. Most of that comes Tuesday and Wednesday, with very little additional rain Thursday and Friday. So here's the temperature drop: 86 Saturday, 68 just after midnight on Sunday, and then the temperatures dropping much of the day under a cloudy sky. So wake up your friends and neighbors if they haven't checked the forecast here today. It's probably much cooler than it looked yesterday. Monday, a low chance of rain later in the day as we're in the 60s, a little warmer Tuesday, but some showers and storms around, and then another front knocks us down even more, down to 61 Wednesday, just 50s on Thursday, back into the mid-60s on Friday. We'll be right back.
A New Hampshire man fought for the chance at a pig kidney transplant, spending months getting into good enough shape to be a part of a small pilot study of a highly experimental treatment, and his effort, well, it paid off. Tim Andrews is only the second person known to be living with a pig kidney. Now, Andrews is free from dialysis and recovering so well from the January 25th transplant that he actually left the hospital a week later. Andrews' surgery comes at a turning point in the quest to tell if animal to human transplants could actually help ease the shortage of donated human organs.
Xenotransplantation has the potential to scale up and really close this gap that's extremely large right now compared to the number of patients that need a transplant and how many transplants we're actually able to complete in an annual basis.
And as they monitor Andrews' recovery, doctors at Mass General Brigham have FDA approval to perform 2 additional transplants in their pilot study.
Coming up here on KXAN at 7, it's Happy's Place, followed by Lopez versus Lopez at 7:30. Then, of course, at 8, it's Dateline NBC before we're right back here for KXAN News at 10.